Welcome, friends, to the second day of our 3-day program here in Calgary. I am very happy to see all of you again here. Yesterday, I mentioned to you that the way to our true home lies within us. If we have to do anything to discover it, it has to be within us. Therefore, meditation is a technique, it's a method. Meditation is to meditate upon what is within. We all meditate all the time, but we meditate upon outside things. To meditate upon a thing is to think about that thing. We are constantly thinking of outside things. And meditation for spiritual benefit means meditating upon your own inner self. That is why it's important to know where is our inner self. I mentioned yesterday that you could confine it to a small area on the top of your body in the head. That narrows down the field of going within, field of discovery very little to a very small area. But within that, we have to be there with something called our attention. If our attention is scattered outside, it takes time to go within. So that is why it's important to have a lifestyle where we begin to think of it all the time and not scatter our attention outside. The more scattered our attention outside will be, the more difficult it will be to put attention inside. So this requirement that we have to withdraw our attention from things outside to put them inside our head is what takes time. Otherwise, if you had a full control over where your attention is, and it's not scattered, it's in your control, you could step in 1 nanosecond at any time. And moreover, if you practice over time how to withdraw your attention inside and become less and less attached to things outside, you will still be able to go within in a nanosecond. You are out, you are in. It's as simple as that. But till we reach that stage, we have to keep on practicing till we become perfect in withdrawing our attention. One of the big difficulties we have found in withdrawing attention is that we think withdrawing attention is the same thing as focusing attention. There's a big difference between the two. We are so used to focusing attention on something that we don't know what withdrawal of attention is. When you focus your attention on anything, the thing that you're focusing attention becomes separate from you. Here we are trying to remove the separation. Withdrawal of attention is to come back to where you were focusing attention from. Not that we have found a new place to focus attention in. A mistake that people have been making for 30, 40 years of meditation. I meet them and they tell me that's what we have been trying to do. We close our eyes, we imagine we are sitting right in front here and we focus on that. That's no good. You're not focusing on yourself. You're still creating another object and focusing on that. If you are doing that, my simple suggestion is look at who is focusing on that. That's what needs to be focused on. That's the self. The self is the one that's focusing on it. But since all our life we have been taught how to focus our attention on things, it looks very strange that we have to withdraw attention to our own self. And that's where the catch is for a long time. Unless somebody can explain to you that you are not doing the right thing, you could be doing it forever without any results. But when you want to pull your attention back and think, where are you? That's focusing attention on something in front. When you pull your attention and begin to think of where you are, then you are withdrawing attention to yourself. This is very important, and I'm mentioning it because I meet lots of friends who have been accepted, initiated by many masters, and they are all sitting for years doing this thing, almost making it like another religious ritual. You go to church, they go to satsang. You go to a temple, they go to satsang. And you can focus your attention on the Guru Granth Sahib, on the Bible, on the Bhagavad Gita, whatever scriptures you have in hand, you put your attention there and you think something is going on. It's all outside. You are putting yourself more outside every time you do that. So true meditation, to take you inside, is when you withdraw your attention to your own self. And when I mentioned yesterday, there's a music, there's a melody, there's a sound coming from the self. It's coming from the self which is looking at things, which is withdrawing, attention has to be withdrawn. That is why when you start putting your attention on your own self inside, the sound becomes loud and can pull you because it is coming from your own self. It's not coming from outside at all. It's coming from your core, from right inside. So the sound principle, the Surta Shabda Yoga, the yoga of putting attention on the sound to have union with your true self, only happens when you are pulling attention to your own self, which is observing things. You have to go to the observer, not to what is being observed. This is very important. I promise that we will do meditation today. Before we do meditation, I would like to take you through 2 simple exercises, and then we will meditate. The exercise is designed to tell us how to know that we have to focus our attention inside. It's just a means of experimenting how attention can move where we like. And the 2 experiments will be, the first one will be the orange juice experiment. How many of you already done it with me? How many have never done it? Okay, plenty of newcomers. Those who have done it can also try it again. It's helpful. In meditation, this experiment will be helpful later on. That attention is so flexible that you can put it wherever you like. And this is the key to good meditation later. This was a demonstration how the 2 things, imagination and attention, are in your control. And you can operate them as you like. The very key 2 element that will be required in meditation. Now we'll do another exercise. In this exercise, you will close your eyes and imagine that you are sitting in the middle of your head. That your head is like a living room, and you are sitting in the middle in a chair. Any chair. You can imagine a chair, you can sit on the middle, and you will imagine that next to you is a little table like this. And next to you is a little table, and on the table there is a drink in a cup, in a glass like this. There is a bunch of flowers, not exactly these, but of your choice, your imagination. And there's a little plate, a saucer containing some snack of yours, favorite snack. You have to imagine these 3 things, that there is a table next to your chair where you are sitting, and on the table, there is a snack to taste, there's a drink, and there are flowers. So after you imagine that, I'll give you instructions what to do next. How many of you were able to see the flowers? How many of you saw the flowers change colors when you were watching? How many of you thought the flowers were different from any flower you have seen? How many of you could smell the flowers? How many of you could recall the smell that you had? How many of you thought it was new? How many of you could taste the drink? How many of you remembered when you had it? How many of you felt it was new? How many of you could taste the snack? How many of you could recognize it? How many of you felt it was new? How many of you still have the taste of the snack in your mouth? Can you imagine? In this exercise, we covered all 5 sense perceptions. There was no drink, no flowers, imaginary things, but you were able to use your sense perceptions. You could see, you could touch, you could taste, you could smell. You could do all the things that you do with your sense perceptions with none of these objects present. Imagination was employed to create the things. But the sense perceptions were not imaginary. They were your sense perceptions. You perceived them with your senses. What was the object of this exercise? To tell you sense perceptions are not confined to the physical body at all, that they exist independently. And when you will withdraw your attention to your own self, sense perceptions will be heightened. Some of you say you saw new things. You saw flowers changing colors. They don't change colors when you see them here. How come they change colors while you are watching them? Because they were not physical flowers. They were flowers from an imaginative state that pulled the imagination from the astral plane, the higher plane of consciousness. When you will withdraw your attention and become unaware of your physical body, all these senses will be very heightened, and that's exactly what your astral body is. It's composed of the ability to use sense perceptions along with your mind and your consciousness. This experiment reveals a lot to us. So when we go there, inside the head, at the third eye center, behind the eyes, you'll find all the senses are completely intact and they work very well. They work better than they work here. You will have these experiences. To raise your level of consciousness to higher awakening gives you more and more ability to experience. These worlds have been created for experience. This physical world is a world of experience, so is the astral world, so is the causal world. All these three worlds are created for experience. Now let us do meditation. What is the method? Very simple. First step. Go back to where you sat on the chair. This time it may look a little more difficult, but it doesn't matter. Try. Close your eyes. Imagine you are in the head, in the center, and sitting on a chair or on the floor. How many of you could sit in the center of your head? How many of you have difficulty in doing that? With a little more practice. It requires practice. For a few of you that couldn't do it, we'll practice again. How many of you sat there without thinking of things outside? How many of you still kept on thinking of things outside? That's the main distraction, that we keep thinking of other things. This requires practice to be able to concentrate your attention only on what is happening inside where you are and around you. How many of you felt that you were there in the center and not that you were seeing somebody in the center? That's very good. But that's the requirement, important. You should feel you are there. How many of you could stand up when I said stand up? How many of you could stand and sit down? Very good. This is a wonderful group. Very interesting that you can do these things. You will be very successful in your meditation to go within. This was an exercise in sitting at the right place at what is called the third eye center. Why is it called third eye? Because we are still seeing, but we are seeing without these eyes. So naturally we can call it third eye. There's another way of explaining it. When we see physically with these eyes, both the eyes are seeing two different pictures. They combine to create this stereoscopic effect of distance. You know, you go to 3D movies, they give you glasses which make the flat things come in front of you. It is because when you wear those glasses in the 3D movie, the glasses are seeing two different pictures. And on the screen, two different pictures have been taken and put together. So with those glasses, you see one with one eye, one with the other. And then when you merge them, it looks like it becomes three-dimensional and things come close to you. Even without the glasses, we are doing the same thing now. These two eyes are not seeing the same thing. They are seeing two different pictures. And then we merge them, and in a distance, in this effect of distance, we are able to see as if it is one picture. The right eye does not see the one picture. Left eye does not see the one picture. Then which eye sees the one picture? It is part of our process of seeing, which is not in the eyes at all. It's a process of seeing in our consciousness, in our brain, that combines the two images and sees one even now physically. And if you want to figure out where exactly am I seeing from? When I look out, am I seeing from the right eye or the left eye? No, neither right nor left. So where am I seeing from? You are seeing from a combination of the two, which goes behind the eyes exactly to the point which we describe as the third eye center. So that's the third eye center. We are using it all the time, every day, without knowing it. We just see things outside, we don't know where we see from. When you will discover where you see from, that itself is the third eye center. So that's why it's called the real center of viewing, both outside and inside. It will be that place where you establish yourself and you can pull your attention in by continuously meditating upon that point and not thinking of other things. So this third eye center is not very difficult to know where it is. You are looking from that point even now, even with the physical eyes. It's the combination of the two pictures that's creating distance. Supposing we had only one eye. They say there were some people living who had only one eye in the center. They had no sense of distance at all. They couldn't see what was far, what was near. And they had a big problem because of that. So we are lucky. We have two eyes, so we can see, create a world of distances, world of depth. And we are lucky to have two ears. Why do we have two ears? We could have one ear in the center of our head. We could hear everything. But we would never know from which direction we are hearing. The direction is only established by two ears. So the way this body has been constructed, that you are able to create depth of vision, direction of listening, hearing, and it creates a real world around us. It's a much deeper study if you want to sometime go into the deep study, how the world is being created even with the system we are using in our body now, right now. Only the things are being created so realistically, look so real, that we assume that's real and we are merely experiencing it. And the fact that we are creating and experiencing is lost to us. But with meditation, you'll find out that how you create and how you experience at the same time. This is possible because of where you sit. Now, so many of you said that while you were doing this exercise, and although I said don't think of anything else, you were still thinking of outside things. What is the solution to that? Mystics have found a solution. Meditators have found a solution to that. The solution is that instead of allowing the mind to think of other things, put artificial thoughts of your own choosing so that you don't give the chance to the mind to think of outside things. How do you put artificial thought? By repeating words. Because the mind is also repeating words in thought. So you now put artificial words. And we want to give them a certain sanctity because they're going to lead you to an inner spiritual experience. So we call them holy words. Mantra, Simran. What's the purpose of repetition of those words? The purpose is not that God is going to listen to those words, but we will prevent our own mind from thinking of other things. We will squeeze the words of thought by pouring into the same channel words given to us by somebody whom we respect. Why can't we choose our own words? We can. If I was given a choice, choose one word which you like the best and repeat that. I will like Shakey's Pizza. And I can repeat Shakey's Pizza, Shakey's Pizza. I'll never go in. I'll be out all the time. Most of the words we choose are all related to things outside. By repeating them, you don't withdraw at all. You are just thinking of the same things outside. When another person gives us words ununderstandable to us, we don't even know what they mean. Or if they mean anything, they are related to an inner experience, we call it a mantra. We call it holy words. And they become really important for us because when we repeat them, we are really repeating words that are not related to an outside experience, but they are giving us a chance to prevent thoughts from coming in. This process is called the repetition of mantra or repetition of words or simran, as they say, to simmer on the word. That means to simran of words. This is a good way to prevent the words of thought coming into us, and they are replaced by the words we have chosen artificially, and we repeat them. We can try that now. How many of you have words already given by some person other than your own self, which you can repeat. Please use those words. How many of you have no words at this time? You create your own temporary mantra today of a short phrase which refers to what you want to see inside through your love and devotion. Or if you love somebody, love is a spiritual thing. If you love somebody, think of that person and call upon that person with a short phrase and express your love. Temporary mantra for today. So those who don't have, you can create a short one now and use it. For others who already have something, repeat. Now, I want to caution you before doing this. Repeating with the tongue is easy. Repeating with the mind is very difficult. You have to replace your thoughts with those words, not repeat them in addition to what you are thinking. That won't work. So you have to stop thinking in the bizarre, natural way of thought and put these artificial words into your thought stream. Just keep on thinking of them. Then they'll work. If you don't make them your thought process, then they will merely be another repetition of words artificially made in addition to your thought, which will still take you out. So try your best and let's do it. Close your eyes. Go back to the third eye center behind the eyes. You can sit on a floor, on a pillow, you can sit on a chair, whatever is comfortable, and make it a nice place. How many of you could successfully do this? Very good. How many of you felt it was all dark around you? How many of you felt there was light around you? How many of you felt that you could hear some other sounds beside your own? How many of you could hear sounds which are all around you? Very good. I'm glad many of you did it very successfully on very short attempt. If you are able to hold it, this was a sampling. I can't do more than a sampling in this, but if you hold it for a reasonable time, and an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours if possible, you will get so many experiences just by this single exercise. And you will be able to see so much. When you don't think of anything else, only hear, you will hear sounds loud enough, emanating from your own self, not coming from anywhere on the side. They look like all over, but they're coming from within you. Then you will see light. It'll get so lighted, so bright, that you may never have seen that brightness outside, what is inside, just with this simple exercise that we just did, if you can hold on to that. When the sound appears, you can hold on to the sound. Now, in this particular case, how many of you have a master, a mentor, a guru who has given you the mantra and under whose instructions you are following meditation? Now we have to do something which is very important to have higher achievement and higher levels of experiences. The word experience is not too good. Higher levels of states of consciousness that you can go into. And that requires the love and devotion in your meditation. This was mechanical, what we did now. Anybody can do mechanically and still have experiences. But this is all mental. This is all imaginary, created by the mind. These are mental activities that we are doing. But to go into pure spiritual regions, we have to pass through some of the mental regions, but then we cross it. But to cross the mental regions, you will require to be pulled by the love of your beloved master, guru, mentor, who has given you something and made you a devotee of that person. That makes it easy if you have such a thing. If you don't, it's more difficult. It's much more difficult. Very often you can only stick at the mental level after that. But if you want to go beyond that love and devotion for a being who is alive, living like ourselves, is not only necessary, it's very useful. It helps a lot. So many of you have that. So now we'll do meditation with love and devotion. And not merely a mechanical exercise, which we did so far. Love and devotion means that when you sit in the center, you invite your beloved to sit with you. And while you are doing the exercise, stop from time to time, have a conversation. Have a little conversation, then get back to that, and if necessary, make your beloved master do the repetition of the word with you together. And I tell you something, a little secret, if you practice that way, later on, you will find that the master will do all the meditation for you, you just watch and just get the gains of all the experiences. It's a good exercise, but this requires a feeling of love and devotion. Let's try now. This time, when you close your eyes, go back and again do the same repetition of words and listen to them. In the middle, invite your beloved to come. If you don't have a master, anyone you love, any beloved of yours whom you love, call that person to you and have a chat, conversation. In longer meditation, I encourage having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee with them inside. It's an experience generated to keep your attention within and not allow it to go out. All the things should happen right inside that little chamber. And this chamber that you create is your real meditation chamber. I go to my friends' houses, they say, we have a very special chair for meditation. They show me the chair. And I look, it's so beautiful, the chair. I said, if you sit on this chair and do meditation, you will meditate only on the chair and nothing else. Because the chair is your special thing. So naturally you are attracted to this chair. You are constantly conscious of the chair. How will you go inside here? Some people have little bats. Some people have made their own rooms. This is our spiritual meditation room. And when they sit there, the meditation room remains with them all the time. There is only one room which is the right meditation room, that's our own head. There's only one chair that will be good chair that you create inside. Only one mat or one pillow or one cushion that you create here is the good one. All others will take you out. So create the whole thing here. I even suggest further that when you go to your meditation chamber on the 6th floor of this house, decorate it. If you see on the sides there is blank, put some nice drapes and curtains. Put some nice carpet at the 6th level. Make it a very nice place so you love to go there every day, if necessary, all the time. That you are there sitting and conscious of the fact you are there. Your meditation will improve so rapidly. The whole idea is not to go out, but to stay inside. Now, in that well-decorated place, go back there. You can invite on a chair in front of you your beloved to come and sit and chat. And the repetition should go on so that you stay inside and the experience remains inside. You can pause in the middle, have a conversation and get back to that. And then both can do meditation with your feeling of love and devotion. Express your love and devotion. Express in the best way you can. It's a great opportunity to have a great loving conversation with your beloved. Okay, close your eyes, go back there, and have a wonderful experience of repeating words. If any sounds come, listen to the sounds. Any lights come, just let them roam around. The light should be roaming around you. Don't follow it. Don't follow any experience. Stay in the center. More experience will come. Invite your beloved, have a chat, and enjoy yourself in this short session of meditation. How many of you could do this successfully? How many of you enjoyed this session? Oh, I'm happy that meditation become enjoyable. Normally people think it's a chore, it's difficult. But if you bring your beloved in, it becomes enjoyable. And that's why it's a good meditation. How many of you could feel that it was lighted around you? There was light around you. Good. How many of you could hear sounds around you? Very good. All of you will be able to have these experiences with practice. It requires practice. When I say it's simple, it is simple. The process is very simple, but not easy. It's not easy because we made it difficult. with the huge baggage we are carrying of our attachments and our guilt of the past. We move again back and back to the events that happened earlier, and we start living in the past and are pulled back. Or we are carrying attachments from the past, and they pull us back, they pull us out of our meditation. With practice, you will be able to stay longer and longer here, and you will be able to have lights and sounds and opening up. When you are doing this, how many of you, while doing this, did not remember where your feet and hands were? So many. You didn't even think of them. In course of time, you won't even know where your arms and legs are. You won't even know where your body is. It will proceed from the extremities. Unawareness starts from extremities and goes on. Ultimately, you feel you are only here. Then, by tomorrow, you should be ready. If you practice this tonight a little more, tomorrow, if you want to fly into the astral sky, you will be able to do it. How many of you would like to fly in the astral sky? If you do homework tonight, tomorrow you'll fly. I'll have another session with you, and tomorrow you'll fly. So I am glad that you had a small, simple sampling of what we do, what we call meditation to discover who we are. If you can fully discover who you are, fully discover that you are not the body, that you are not even the sense perceptions, that you are not even a thinking mind, that you are the power that makes these alive. If you can find that, if you can find your soul, I tell you, next step to find God will be the simplest step. The Creator can be found when you find yourself. If you can find your own self, you'll find your own Creator. Because the Creator is not only inside you, you and the Creator are participating together in the whole show. There's no difference. And that can be found at that time. How the individualization of totality of consciousness takes place can be experienced by us while we are in the human body. I sometimes really marvel how it is possible that we are so far removed. We have removed ourselves with so many different covers upon ourselves that we have taken a reality created at the physical material level as the only reality, and then we are talking of something that is real at different levels. Ultimately, the whole thing is happening right at a point which is inside this body here. It's amazing that it should be so close to us, and that what we call love is such a powerful thing. It can pull without our effort. In fact, it pulls so strongly, even if we want to pull away, it still pulls us. It's such a powerful thing when you meet a perfect living master and recognize who he is. It takes time to recognize. It takes meditation to recognize. It takes time to know who he is. Otherwise, he's like us, maybe more learned, maybe he knows more words, maybe he has read more books. You don't need to read any books to be a perfect living master. Nor do you need to read any books to find your own self. These are natural abilities given to us sitting inside us. And all of us have that. But only when the time is right. Time is right means which we predetermined before we ever came here. That when I've had this experience enough, don't want to have any more, I'm tired of it, that becomes the right time. At that time, that ordinary person comes across your life, you feel touched by something, there's something unusual. What is unusual? You can't figure out. Eventually you find it's some kind of a strange kind of pull, a love that we haven't had normally. As you associate more and more, you discover he's not what he looks like. There's more in it. Eventually you find he's everything that you desire, and that he can become your best friend with unconditional love and friendship. A human being, not somebody in your thoughts, not somebody imagined by you, but a living human being. And we love to have a living human being to be our friends. We don't want to make friends with spirits and ghosts. We don't want to make friends with unknown people. We don't want to make friends with people we can't even see. Friendship is within human beings. And a friendship that is so strong that we can share anything and everything with that human being. It's such a strange experience that we can't share some things of our life with anybody. And the very first time we meet such a person, there's such a strange inspiration, we're willing to share everything on the very first meeting. Something very different. And yet it's an ordinary human being, just like ourselves. So that is why over time we discover who that friend is. And when we meditate, we find the friend was not operating from outside, he was becoming ordinary for our sake. And he was a friend inside. And he knows the entire route to our true home. He knows the entire way that we have to take. And we go holding his hand together. When that happens, this very exercise that you are doing, if you can hold your attention there, the light will lighten up more. In the light you will see the image, the face, the form of your same human beings. That's guiding you from outside will be guiding you from inside. And we call it the radiant form of the Master. When the radiant form appears, it will sometimes appear, sometimes go away. Not that it's trying to go away. Our attention can't hold. It's all a question of holding attention. When we can hold our attention there, that friend will be with us 24/7 all the time. And will never leave. Even if he physically dies outside, he will still be there with us. Forever. Now when I say forever, I mean really forever. Not forever for this lifetime, but forever afterwards. Till we reach our true home. He'll be with us. I cannot possibly compare any friendship with that kind of friendship. That's always there, 24/7. Nobody can ever be lonely again after that experience. It's not possible. You have such a good companion all the time with you. And you share everything. You fly together. You explore things together. You explore the world together. You explore inner worlds together. There's nothing like it. And that's the possibility, the promise of true meditation under the guidance of a perfect living Master. A perfect living Master carries with him at all times, whether we see him inside or outside, he carries with him the awareness of all these levels we are talking about, including the level of totality of consciousness, which is only one. Aware of that. It's the awareness that makes him different, nothing else. In every other way, he's the same as us, except his awareness is total. And so when he talks to us, he talks from where we are. He may talk to a child, he'll be like a child. He talks to a person who is not very intellectual, he'll talk straight about the things he wants to know. He talks to intellectual, he gets into intellectual debate and discussion as if he's also an intellectual. This ability of the ordinary human being to play different roles according to the seekers for whom he has come is an amazing. And if you are close enough to watch such a person, you'll be amazed at the different hats he can wear with different places, different caps he wears at different occasions with different people. Because this is only possible when that person knows each one of us better than we know ourselves. And that's exactly what the relationship is. So it's a very rare experience to meet such a person. Very rare experience. We have so many masters, gurus, so many people, yogis, swamis, all over the world. My master used to say, we have reached a stage when there are more gurus than chelas. There are more masters than disciples. We have reached that stage. Disciples running around, making money, carrying out a business of mastership. A perfect living master, the one I am defining, never charges anything for his service on the spiritual front. That's the first thing I would rule out if somebody says, give me this money and I'll give you enlightenment. I will not go follow them. He has come to give, not to take. He survives in the world like we survive. He works, he earns, he does his own jobs like we do. He earns exactly like we do. Never charges for his services. He may help in collecting funds for holding meetings. He may help in collecting funds for other logistical events that we need for understanding and following this path, but nothing for himself. For the people, he can do anything, even go around begging for the people, but not for himself. He never charged. Secondly, his love and friendship is unconditional. He will never say, you do this, then only I will do this for you. Never. We go before him as sinners. We are conscious. We even come to know he knows who we are. We go before him sometimes ashamed that he knows what life we are leading. And we are not leading the right life. We know we are not following his instructions even. We know we are failing in everything. And we go in front of him. And we know he's seeing everything that we are feeling. Yet he loves us. How come he ignores all our weaknesses? He ignores our weaknesses because he knows those weaknesses are coming from our trap in which we are. The karmic trap, the trap of time and space. That's creating those weaknesses. He sees that because he's able to see from a different point of view. And that is why his love and compassion never ends, no matter what. So this is a very strange experience that you won't have with too many people around the world. So that is why they become very distinct. He does not have to perform any magical miracles in front of you. He will perform plenty of private miracles. So many things will happen in your life. This is a miracle. I know my master is doing it. You'll feel it. When you tell somebody else, I saw a miracle, oh, that was just a coincidence. So he'll rule out anything that makes him so extraordinary externally. Internally, he'll be very extraordinary. He will never say, I am a master. If he says so, he has not even overcome his own ego. And why should he say that? His job is not to proclaim who he is. His job is to take us back. It's totally different. So he never says. No perfect living master ever said. On the other hand, they have called themselves a servant of masters, a servant of the people. Das and Das. They have never called themselves as masters. So you can rule out so many people who come into your life, and there are so many of them. But such people who we call perfect living masters are extremely rare. And yet for a seeker of the true home, they are not rare. They are bound to come into their life. When you are seeking in your inner self, not in your mind, not in the situation you are in the world, but you're not seeking, give me better health, give me more money, give me a better job, solve my problem of relationships, solve my problem in the marital state, solve my problem with children. When you say that, lots of masters can help you. Perfect living master does not come for that, though he may help you in that too. He comes to take you back home, period, because you are ready for it and you want it. That's your ultimate desire, and he comes to fulfill your ultimate desire. So that's why there's such a difference between such a person and so many other masters that we see around us who are trying to help in different ways. Somebody wrote to me, I am going to give you 3 gifts today in my head. If you are a master, tell me what they are. I said, I am sorry, I am not a psychic. I am not a psychic, I can't guess. These things can be done by people who are mind readers. I have met mind readers who could read my mind. I couldn't read their mind, I was so simple. So, but whatever you are given, I will appreciate what you give. Now tell me what you gave. So people say we can go and test a master. They go and they try to test the master by these means. And a friend of mine said, I am going to test a master who you say is a perfect living master, and I'll go and see him and see if he's really a perfect living master. He went, he came back and said he's not a perfect living master. I tested him out. How did you test him? I went and saw he's reading a newspaper. A man who has to read the newspaper to know the news of the world, how can he do anything else? He failed. Later on he found that he is reading the newspaper like an ordinary person. But he does not need to read newspapers to get news. But he needs to read the newspaper to be like us. It takes time to know these things. And it takes so much time, but the friendship that we can get ultimately overpower even our doubting mind. That's another beauty of it. Our human mind is designed to create doubts. It's not unnatural. People say, oh, I'm always having doubts. It's natural. The mind is supposed to create doubts for our protection, so that we don't become so vulnerable to anything anybody's saying and we believe it. Then we'll be going from one place to another all the time and getting nothing really, if we believe everybody that we come across. So the mind creates doubt so that we can test it out, but not test it out to such an extent that we spend our life in testing it out. That also happens. Did I tell you the story of the man who fell into a well? In India, there are wells in villages. There's no parapet wall around them, so they're level with the ground. So in the dark, one man, probably a professor from a university, intellectual guy, he was walking in that village and he fell into the well. Fortunately for him, the well was not very deep, so the water was only up to a certain level, so he could survive. He began to moan and groan, how did I fall into the well? And somebody heard his sound, his groaning, and he came to help him. A villager came. Oh, I'm sorry you fallen. I'll bring a rope and get you out. He said, stop before you bring the rope. First explain to me how I fell in the well. Secondly, tell me what guarantee is there that you will bring a rope. Thirdly, tell me if you bring a rope and you lower it to me, how do I know when you have pulled me halfway up, you won't drop me again? Answer all my questions. Then go and bring the rope. He said, whoever you are, please come out. I'll pull you by the rope, and all these things you are asking, we can discuss afterwards. No, I won't let you go unless you first explain everything to me. So the man said, if this is the kind of guy you are, okay, stay where you are. We sometimes, of course, it's a good thing to be skeptical and to overcome your skepticism with some proof, living proof in your own life. It's understandable. But to say, I am a skeptic, I am always going to be skeptic and die skeptic, what do you get out of it? There's a certain point in investigation. When you investigate and say, I have a reasonable feeling that I can take one step. If the first step is not successful, I won't go to the second. One step I can take. If first step is successful, I'm willing to take the second step. As your faith grows with your experience, that's a very legitimate, good faith. But if you're just believing somebody what he says, is blind faith. The spiritual practice I am talking of is based entirely on living faith, growing faith, not on blind faith. Most religions are surviving on blind faith. Somebody said something, you believe it, and live your life accordingly. This is not a religion. You can belong to any religion and still practice this. This is a discovery of your own real self, of the discovery of the totality of consciousness, of the discovery of the Creator and the creative power. When you do this, you find the religion spoke exactly of this, every religion. But when you want to follow a religion, they say, this is it. Somebody has said this, now follow and do these rituals, do these ceremonies, which are different for different religions. What makes religions different are the ceremonies and the rituals that they perform, not the basic message that this is our living temple, this is our body is our temple, God lives inside, you live inside, find him there. All of them say the same thing. The founders said the same thing. The followers of religion are not saying the same thing. They are taking us so much into the external rituals and differentiating there, and therefore we become separated. If I can find that particular little story of a man who was going to fall from a bridge, another man stopped him and held him back. Why are you doing? He said, nobody loves me, therefore I'm going to fall. He said, no, God loves you. And there the conversation starts. And he says, what religion do you have? I am a Christian. Okay, are you a Protestant or a Catholic? I am a Protestant. Okay, are you Baptist or are you Methodist or this? They go on discussing. Are you of this order, of that year, of this order? And I'm also like that. Up to the end, they're happy. At the end, in one denomination, they're different. So he said, I pushed him down. You heretic, go down. I mean, every religion you see, we are worshipping the same God in the same religion and killing each other. In Islam, Allah is one. Muhammad is one. The Prophet is one. But Shias and Sunnis will kill each other, both following the same Prophet and same God. Human beings. Christianity, look at what is happening. The number of denominations, it goes on endlessly, more and more, further divisions. A man brought a book to me. He said, this is the real Bible. I said, why? He says, I have taken extracts from 14 different Bibles. I said, I didn't know there are 14 Bibles. Yes. Somebody told me the American Bible is the best Bible. I said, what is the American Bible? I thought there was only one Bible. No, the American Bible is the one that we read now. Oh, I saw it. I said, do you know who finalized the text of this Bible? King of England. King James, 14th version. It was changed again and again. In the 7th century, in the ecumenical conference, they struck out whole gospels out of it and put new ones. Man-made thing. And if you want to see the real definition of what it is, they think that's the real word of God. Man changed the word of God again and again according to their own convenience. In this Bible, I am struck by the words of John's Gospel, opening verses of the Bible, John's verses. He says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and Word was God. Word, W capital. He's saying that God and Word were one, and he puts Word even ahead of God. He doesn't say in the beginning was God and he had Word. He says in the beginning was the Word, and Word was with God and God was Word. These are the opening sentences of John's Gospel in the Bible. I go to a church and they're reading that. Go to midnight mass on Christmas Eve and the minister reads this every time, and I love it. Because I've also read the Rig Veda, written of course much earlier than the Bible. The Rig Veda says, in the beginning was the Nad, the sound. The sound was the creator, and the sound created everything. Almost a translation of John's Gospel, or vice versa. When we look at other scriptures, they are all talking of something like a word or a sound that created everything, including God. Now, when you say word or sound or nad, or in Guru Granth Sahib, the Sikh holy book, he says Shabd. Shabde Dharti, Shabde Akash, Shabde Bhaya Prakash. Everything was created by Shabd, including Shabd itself. That the holy book of the Granth Sahib says. All are saying the same thing. In the Islamic literature, same thing. That there is a Bang-e Asmani. That not the Bang of the Maulvi, not the Maulvi calling people to worship, but there's from the sky the sound is coming, which is calling you. All talking of something that can be heard. Word, sound, nad, shabd. How come they are using these words? Why don't they say power? Why don't they say creative power? All of them should say. They all are using a word which means something that can be heard. The answer is very simple. If you meditate, you can find the answer. That the ultimate consciousness, totality of consciousness, is the total creative power that's created everything, including itself. And yet, when we are in a physical world, in a physical body, it can be heard inside us as the sound. It is audible. Just because that power of consciousness is audible in the physical plane, they've used these words all over in every religion. They made it very clear that if you want to find yourself, follow the resonance and sound of your own self. And what word can we give? There's no word we can give to that power. But we could describe it when we are in a physical state. So that is why all the religions have drawn our attention to this. Yet when I open the Columbia Oxford dictionary and I look up what's the meaning of the word with W capital, you can also look up. I open it, it says the word means the Bible. If I apply that to John's Gospel, a book created the whole world. The book was God. How can you say that? And yet we confuse ourselves just because a word has been used. Same thing is happening all over. We are looking at scriptures in a totally different way. We try to make use of them to create separateness. Separate religion, separate denominations, separate belief systems. And every time we create a new belief system, some followers come there, some there, we separate again and again from each other. The greatest separator of all is our own mind. That separates us first from our own self. And then it separates from everybody else. The mind is our separator. How can you rely on a mind for yoga, for union, which is constantly separating us? If the mind was not there, we would be one right now. The mind is creating all the separation. The mind divides. It's its nature. And when it divides through a process which appeals to itself, a process called analysis. It is analytical in nature. You want to understand something, break it. Like a little child looks at a toy, wants to know how it works, break and see it, what it is. We want to break concepts, break ideas, break them and see, understand them. Mind cannot understand anything without breaking it. Whereas our own self, our soul, our consciousness tries to see the big picture by uniting. Its system is synthesis, not an analysis. It synthesizes everything and see the big picture. Then we understand it. I've often said if you have a nice painting and you look at the painting, you feel good. That's a nice painting. You don't say, let me see it for 20 minutes and then I'll say if it's a good painting or not. You have one glance at a good painting. Say, great. Now supposing you cut that painting into small pieces, 1-inch squares of that painting, and put the whole heap on a table. The whole painting is sitting on the table. Now examine each piece one by one by one. You never see the painting. You can try 1,000 times. You never see the painting because you have spread them, separated them into pieces. Even this human life, we see it separated, cut up by time and space, moment by moment. These are scissors. Time and space are scissors, cutting our experience into little pieces. We never see the perfection of life. Supposing you put the whole life together in one instant, you'll see it's perfect. Supposing you see the whole of creation in one glance, it's perfect. See it part by part, it's imperfect. So this whole approach of experiencing through the mind and experiencing through the soul are different. When you experience through the mind, you never see the whole, the big picture. When you experience through the soul, you see the whole picture. That is why these perfect living masters say, the true spiritual path is one that takes you above the mind. And above the mind, you discover who you are. And after that, you discover you are always part of the totality. You were never separated. In my very first meeting with somebody in 1962 in this country, when I first came, they asked me to speak in a church. And I spoke in a church and somebody got up and said, if these things were so good in our true home, why did we leave? Why did we come here? And my answer at once was, we never left. We are still there. And that surprised the person for a while. We lost awareness of where we are. Not that we lost the place. We never left our true home. We left the awareness, and the spiritual path is not traveling somewhere. It's regaining by awakening to where we are. When we go back to our true home, we don't feel, oh, after a long time we've come back. We feel we were always here. We had such a nasty dream after dream, and we had some good dreams and some bad dreams, and we called it creation and reality. So that is where we go back. So that is why this path is to awaken us to our own reality. Somebody asked me, a good author of many books, he wanted me to write a chapter on the spiritual path I follow. He said, give me just the gist of it. I don't want a whole book to put in my book. One chapter. I said, it'll be a small chapter. He said, I want it to be small. How many pages? I said, not even a page. He said, oh, you mean to just on one page? I said, it's even shorter than that. He said, what, will it be just a small chapter? No, it'll be a very small chapter. Or will it be just a sentence? That will be the smallest sentence I've ever uttered. What will it be? I said, my whole gist of the spiritual path will be one word. Love, period. That's the spiritual path. The experience of love is the spiritual path. The experience of love under all circumstances is the spiritual path. But do not mistake attachment to be love. So long as you know that love does not require any effort on the part of an ego, of an I, to express itself. When I has to be used to express love, it's an ego trip and not love. When the beloved alone is in your mind and there is no I, that's love. In love, the beloved pulls you. In Farsi, in Persian, there's a saying, Ishq awwal dar dile mashuk paida mishwad. That means love was first born in the heart of the beloved. You can't be a lover. You can be pulled by a beloved and you become a lover. And that's the truth about true love. Otherwise, I love you, always I am more important than you. Because I am doing something for you. And I'm expecting something. When a person says, and I hear this phrase all the time from people, I sometimes wonder, why do they have to say it again and again? People are repeating this in their relationships all the time. They are so insecure. They are so insecure that maybe if we don't keep on repeating, we'll separate. That's the repetition of these words is keeping us together. And I have seen people saying, I love you, and thought is somewhere else. Not only somewhere else, on another person. And still the words are coming out of their mouth, I love you. What have we done to this word love? It was supposed to be the most spiritual word. It's the reality. Love and devotion, secret. If you love somebody, really, truly, you will constantly be thinking of the beloved. It's the beloved that's pulled you somehow. If no sign comes from a beloved, you can't love anybody. The sign has to come from there. And that is why when we are pulled by the love of a perfect living master, things happen in such a way. So many things happen. Sometimes I think that the perfect living masters are very big diplomats. And I heard this word once from a very famous Swami. That Swami lived in a place called Karachi, which is now in Pakistan, and his name was Swami Brahmanand. My uncle was posted as a meteorologist, weatherman in Karachi. So he used to go to that Swami Brahmanand and liked him because he was not only a Swami teaching yoga, but he also used to distribute Ayurvedic medicines. And my uncle and aunt used to go for medicines, for not for homeopathic, Ayurvedic medicines. He used to give some good medicines. So that is how they would go to him. But they began to love him. He was a very nice personality, beautiful eyes. He used to wear saffron-colored robes, and he used to have a little muffler kind of thing around him, scarf, also saffron-colored, which when he walked, he would hold on to that and walked with great style. So, good guy. Now, Great Master Baba Sawan Singh decided on their invitation to go to Karachi. And some of us, me included, we all went by train to see the Swami also would be there, and our relatives, the uncles lived on the beach, Clifton Beach in Karachi. It's a nice, pretty place. He had a house. So we all went there, and my uncle and aunt went to the Swami and said, Swamiji, our master is coming from Byas, Dera in Punjab, and we want you to come and have his blessings. The Swamiji said, yes, bring your master to me and I'll bless him. They couldn't decide what to do now. They thought the Swami will get the blessing. The Swami is ready to bless the master. So they decided to have a lunch at their house, and master would be staying in their house. They'll invite the Swamiji for lunch, and they had a two-seater sofa, a love seat sofa, and they will put both of them together, and automatically the blessings will be exchanged. So on the appointed day, Swamiji came, and he sat on that little love sofa, two-seater, and then they went to Master Baba Sawan Singh Ji. Come, Swamiji has come, about whom you told. And he came out. He sat next to the Swamiji, and my uncle and aunt stood in front and said, Master, this is Swami Brahmanand Ji, about whom we spoke to you. And Great Master turned his head toward the Swamiji with his hands like this and bowed his head. And Swamiji raised his hand on top of the Great Master's house. He says, I bless you. We watched this show. We said, what is this happening? It's the opposite of what we expected. But this master of ours is getting a blessing from Swamiji. After a while, Great Master, in all humility, sitting there, says, Swamiji, isn't it a pity that so many yogis, Swamis, are caught up in the 6 energy centers below the eyes, and they have no knowledge of true spirituality above. None of them are aware of the 18 chakras that exist in the body. Swami turned to him, he says, 18 chakras? I never heard of that. 6 chakras, somebody called it 7 chakras, but I never heard of the 18. Where are the 18 chakras? And Great Master said, haven't you heard of the 6 chakras of the Pinda, which means the physical body, and the 6 chakras of the Anda and Brahmanda, and 6 chakras of the Sachkhanda? You never heard that? No, Master, I never heard that. Will you explain to me in detail where they are? Great Master said, you know, my stay is very short here, but if you come to my Dera in Byas, and then I can explain to you more. And he began to think, where are these 18 chakras? Anyway, Master spent a few days and we came back, but the Swami could not sleep at night. He kept on thinking, where are these 18 chakras that Master spoke about? So he told his disciples, I am winding up my ashram. If you want to come along, otherwise I am going to Byas in Punjab state, because one master came here and he talked about 18 chakras. And I have never heard of them, and I don't know them. I want to learn about those 18 chakras. He has invited me to come there. So he came to the Dera in Byas. Great Master instructed all the Sevalas, gave him VVIP treatment, put him in the best guest house available in the Dera, be at his service 24/7, and feed him the best food. And he can see me at any time, 24/7, at any time, day or night. So the Swamiji was given all this information. He felt very bad. He pulled his scarf even more. And he very happy. Every day he would say he's a guest of honor in the whole Dera. So he tested whether he can really go and see the master anytime. He went after midnight. And the door people opened the door. They had instructions. They woke up, Great Master. He said, Master, Swamiji has come. Oh yes, welcome. Yes, Swamiji, what can I do for you? No, Master, just missing you. I wanted to have your darshan. I came for that. Okay, go and sleep. So he came back. He enjoyed this show. Master said, Swamiji will sit next to me when I give a discourse. So Swamiji sat next on the left of the Master. And the chanters who were reading from the books were sitting further to the Swami. So as Master gave the discourse, he said, these Swamis and yogis, they have been caught up in these six chakras. They know nothing of the higher spiritual things. And Swami Brahmananda would look at him like this. And after 1 or 2 days, he says, Master, I have a little problem. He said, yes, Swamiji, what is your problem? My problem is that when you talk, I have to turn my head to look at you. I'm having a pain in my neck. And Great Master said, I also noticed that. No, you should sit in front. So Swamiji moved from sitting next to Master down on the floor. Now the stage was high, where he used to discourse from. So Swamiji is sitting right there on little chairs, small chair. And discourse went on. After 2 days, he complained, Master, I have a little problem. Swamiji, what is your problem now? My problem is that you are sitting so high up, and I have to put my head like this, and now I've got a pain in my neck. And Great Master said, I also noticed that. Now put him back in 20 paces away. So his chair was removed 20 paces away in the crowd, sitting there. After a few days, he again complained. Master, I have a complaint. I was feeling I have a problem. What is your problem? Master, I feel I am sitting on a chair, people are sitting on the ground. They can't see you. I feel so guilty, I can't hear you. Oh, I also see that. Remove the chair. Ultimately, Swamiji is standing, anybody like us, attending the satsang from the back of the stage, and no 24/7, and moved to ordinary hut he was given there to live in, and he was practicing Ayurvedic medicine. Great Master provided for that in a little hut. And I used to practice homeopathic things in those days, so I had a little clinic next to him. We would sometimes sit together and share our notes. And one day I was sitting with him, and this Swami told me, your master is a very great diplomat. If he had treated me like this on day one, I would have gone away the next day. He gave me the royal treatment. And now I am pushed back like anybody else, trying to find when I can have his darshan. But he has trapped me with his love. I can go nowhere. It's love that's pulled me, and I can't go anywhere. So masters can play many kinds of roles, and they do according to where we stand, what we need. And that's why don't underestimate what they are doing. We can't recognize them. We can't know exactly why a particular move has been made, because the moves that they make are with awareness of our own self, awareness of where our karma is, awareness of what baggage we are carrying, awareness of what we need at that time. They know better than us, and gradually we find that out. Till then, they're good friends, and we should treat them like friends. They never say, treat us like masters. They say, treat us like friends, brothers, like brothers. We just out to share our journeys together. We are co-travelers. They never claim that they are higher than others. They claim they are the same level as the marked souls whom they have come to take. So we cannot really recognize a master. Ultimately, it comes down to this. What are the obvious signs of a perfect living master? He never charges for his service. His love is unconditional. His friendship is forever. He never performs public miracles. He performs plenty of private miracles for us. These are signs. And he encourages us to go within and not follow him outside. He encourages us to find our own self and our own master inside, and does not say, go outside to find your spirituality. That's a simple signs. Even from these simple signs, we are still confused, because many of these can be replicated by any clever man. And therefore, there are so many fake masters. So many masters spring up. According to my master, great master, he said every time a perfect living master is born anywhere on this planet, and they are born all over the planet, depending upon where the seekers are. He's not confined to any particular space. They are born all over the planet. Every time one is born, at least 11 or 12 fake ones are around them, because that's how the distribution of roles between the negative power of time, Kal, and the positive power has been divided in this level of creation. These are deep subjects, and if you like to study, you'll find there's so much in this. But merely study of books, study of literature will not take you back home. It will make you more egoistic. I have studied more than anybody else. I have done more studies. I know more than you. That's all ego which comes in the way of that humility that's required to be successful on this path. I'll pause now and have a break. And I will see you in the afternoon at about 3 o'clock again. And since there are a lot of people who are wanting personal time, personal interview, and so I'll have a short session with you in the afternoon and spend about an hour, hour and a half for the interviews. Thank you very much.